Hello, I'm Locke Meredith, and I'd like to invite you to join me on the next Legal Lines. We're very pleased to have on the show Mike Walker. He's the Mayor Pro-Tem for the City of Baton Rouge and the entire parish, and Mike's going to talk to us about his role as the Mayor Pro-Tem, which is heading up the entire Metro Council. He's also going to talk to us about what he sees are the needs for our parish. The problems of crime, the problems with infrastructure, the problems with economic development. He's going to tell us what he thinks needs to happen. He's also going to address the mayor's bond proposal that may be coming to you, the folks. So join us on the next Legal Lines with Mike Walker. Hello, I'm Locke Meredith, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of myself, Sean Fagan, and Corey Ogeron, and our entire staff for letting us come into your homes for the last 10 years via Legal Lines. We hope that you've come to a greater understanding of how the law works and how the government works for you. So from all of us, thank you. Hello, I'm Locke Meredith, and I'm very pleased to have on the show today Mike Walker. He's the Mayor Pro-Tem for the Parish of East Baton Rouge in the City of Baton Rouge. Mike, thanks so much for coming on the show again. It's been a while, I think, since Gustav.
Yes, it has been.
It's been
but
quite
I appreciate it.
Well, let's just quickly give the folks a little bit of your background, because you know our history and our background tends to guide us philosophically in how we make decisions. So first of all, tell the folks a little bit about your family life.
Well, my wife and I have 3 grown children that we're very pleased with, and now we have 5 grandchildren.
Fantastic.
So that is a new phase in our life that we love dearly, and family is extremely important to us, and always has been for me. I've been very blessed to have been loved by a number of members of my family over my years.
You were telling me some really interesting little background, and if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of just tell the folks about it, because it's really fantastic.
I don't mind at all, because I think there are a lot of people in the same situation that I am. I was born to my biological mother in Shreveport, according to my birth certificate. Was adopted by her parents at that time because they did not want to give me up. They wanted to keep me in the family.
I think you said they had 5 daughters.
And they had 5 daughters, and her dad wanted a son. And so I came along, and they kept me. And I was raised in North Louisiana in the country.
So you're a northerner.
I'm a northerner. I'm north of Bunkie. And on a very poor dirt farm. He worked in the paper mill in Hodge, Louisiana, and I learned how to hoe corn and plow behind a horse and things of that nature. But all of that was very important to me, because I guess you could say, you're really in the grassroots level there. You learn what real things are all about, and what things really mean something and things do not. So that helped me tremendously.
In a way, almost helps you define what a need is versus a want.
You quickly learn what a real need is versus a want.
And then I think you said you came to Baton Rouge when about age 12?
About somewhere around the age of 12, as best I can remember. They were poor, and they just could not take care of me anymore. So the sister of my biological mom said, we can take care of him, we will be glad to do so. They moved me here to Baton Rouge. They adopted me, gave me their last name of Walker, and they have done a magnificent job of taking care of me all through these years.
Fantastic, beautiful story.
So, you know, I became a Baton Rougean and graduated from Broadmoor High School. I went back to attend Louisiana Tech for a while, and then back to LSU. And so I've had a great life, and I've gone from, you know, I know what an outhouse is, and I remember when the first black and white TV came in. And then today, I'm very blessed to have young people around me who know all of the modern technology.
Ain't it the truth?
So, I guess you could say we've
spanned the gamut.
Spanned the gamut. Yes, we have.
Well, tell the folks a little bit about your professional career. You've been a public servant for well over 30 years.
Yes, I started out at the age of 23 with Mayor President Woody Dumas. He selected me to be his chief administrative officer,
which was the youngest
chief administrative officer ever. And I was not dry behind the ears, but that white-haired gentleman was very kind to me, and he took me by the hand, taught me many things, one of which is to be accessible to everybody. If you're going to be in public office, you have to be accessible. He also taught me to look at the big picture, look at the entire parish. What's good for the whole parish is also good for each councilmatic district.
Which is interesting because the position you now hold, as we mentioned in the intro, is Mayor Pro-Tem.
Yes.
You're not just responsible for your district, but you're responsible for administrating the council, the city council, for the entire parish.
Right, and it's the biggest responsibility is that of communication, because I have to maintain my communication with my neighborhood civic associations and my council district citizens, and yet at the same time I'm fortunate to be able to deal with 11 other council members and get to visit their council districts and hear from their citizens, so I can communicate both ways.
Sure.
And also let the people in my district know what other council districts think, and let other council districts know what the people in my district think. So it's a great opportunity to provide a tremendous amount of balance in communication.
Well, and the reason it's called Mayor Pro-Tem is if the mayor becomes disabled, you step up?
According to the plan of government, yes, that is true.
And so you and the mayor, so to speak, have kind of the big picture of the entire parish, with each of the council persons a little more focused on their particular district, but y'all kind of look at the whole picture instead of maybe a tree. You see the forest.
We have to out of necessity, yes.
Go ahead and fill in the blanks between 23, youngest chief officer for the mayor, to where you are. You've been doing this a long time and you've had a lot of positions.
Yes, when Mayor President Woody Dumas retired, I was fortunate to go to work for then Clerk of Court Mike Cannon, and I have worked for 3 clerks of court, Mike Cannon, Phil Burt, and Doug Welburn. And I was personnel coordinator there, and with a number of employees, and that was a tremendous experience because that was also on a parish-wide basis. And then from there, I was fortunate to go to work for Mike Futrell when Mike Futrell became council member.
Is that right?
And as one of his council aides, and then when Mike ran for state representative, I ran for his spot
and
on the
now
council.
He's actually serving in the Navy.
And now Mike is in the Navy. He is a commander in the Navy in Honolulu with the Pacific Fleet, right under the Admiral, serving our country, and has been doing so for many years.
As
so we're very proud.
They all make such sacrifice. I never want to not talk about the military because those guys and their families make the sacrifice for all of us.
Every day.
It's
unbelievable. Every day and every night.
And we just want to thank them. Yeah. We thank you.
We have that freedom to sit here and talk to each other because of them.
Well, let's kind of shift gears. We had talked previously in the past about bond being proposed to deal with some of the big issues that face the parish. Let's discuss the issues first. Crime is like a big problem. I've talked to the sheriff, the police chief, the mayor, all kinds of folks, and it just seems like it's out of control.
Crime is our #1 nemesis right now, and we must put together a focused plan to fight crime throughout this parish. Now, I'm a believer of starting with the small things, and if you take care of the little things, it prevents a lot of the larger crimes. For instance, I think if we took care of panhandling. Panhandlers are a group of people that have become a chronic problem here.
Downtown?
And all over Baton Rouge. You go to College Drive,
You're right.
College Drive and Interstate, and
yep.
You've got panhandlers, and people give them money, they run into the streets and buy drugs. Well, that's a breed of people we do not need.
We need to help them.
Help them or
get them off the streets.
Exactly. And then loud music, playing of loud music. Now, to some people, they say, gosh, that's not any big deal. We've got murders going on out here. Well, yes, it is. Because when people go through their neighborhoods playing loud music that rattles your windows, that shows total disrespect for the community and total disrespect for the law that exists already. We need to use the law and keep them from doing that, because that develops a mentality of respect for the law.
Well, and frankly, it may give probable cause to do searches and might find some other problems.
Absolutely, and they always find other things when they do that. Then we need to also get stronger on enforcing the property nuisance laws and codes, and make a lot of these landlords, especially landlords that don't live here, make them responsible for crimes that occur on their properties. We need to be doing more of that.
Now, I know that we've just had a new police chief for Baton Rouge appointed by the mayor. Have you had an opportunity to meet with? I think it's Captain White. Is that
Captain
right?
White, and I have had an opportunity to sit down with him for a pretty good length of time. I'm very impressed with him, and if we leave him alone and let him do his job and don't try to interfere, I think he will do an excellent job and be an excellent police chief.
Well, that's great news. We'll continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith Legal Lines, and Mayor Pro Tem Mike Walker will be right back. Hello, I'm Locke Meredith, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of myself, Sean Fagan, and Corey Ogeron, and our entire staff for letting us come into your homes for the last 10 years via Legal Lines. We hope that you've come to a greater understanding of how the law works and how the government works for you. So from all of us, thank you. Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm very pleased to have on the show today Mike Walker. He's the Mayor Pro Tem for the Parish of East Baton Rouge, the City of Baton Rouge. Again, Mike, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
We were kind of talking about the public safety component of the issue station in our parish, and we were talking about crime and how it's a big problem, and how we've got to deal with the small stuff, middle stuff, and the big stuff.
Yes.
We got a new police chief. I was reading that he's actually putting more folks on the streets, which is a big deal.
Yes, it is, and a good indication of why you should put more police officers on the street is, if you notice, many subdivisions throughout this parish have gone to the legislature and asked to set up crime prevention districts.
That's right.
And the purpose of those crime prevention districts is so they can go and hire their own police officers
Remarkable.
to be on the street. So they are putting
They're paying more taxes.
They're paying more taxes to put more police officers on the street. So those who say we don't need more police officers or that won't help, they're just totally and completely not in contact with the citizens.
Well, and I know I've had Sheriff Sid Gotro on, and he's indicating that he's putting more folks on the streets. But the bottom line is, we need the community to be the eyes and the ears and the mouthpiece. We can't deal with this if everybody doesn't tackle this problem together.
That is absolutely the case, and the problem has to be tackled starting at the youngest ages of our children and our families. You've got children having children. You've got fatherless children being born. You know that they have no idea who their father is. They get born into a house that has no books, no
horrible situations,
and without education, without being able to survive hardly, and staying in that lowest of poverty levels, it just leads you to crime. So
they have no choice.
They have no choice.
What else are they gonna do?
So we've got to start educating the younger people. We've got to start getting to the parents to be more responsible. The truancy program in the schools has been an outstanding program to make parents responsible for getting their children in school where they belong during the course of a day. And
I know Hiller Moore, the DA, is
pushing that tremendously, doing an excellent job with it. So,
and we actually have the Chief Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court coming on talking about how all of this ties together.
It all ties together. When you start with taking care of the families, when you take care of the little things to prevent the larger things. Outstanding warrants. We've got probably 100,000 outstanding warrants that we're not running. And we need to do that. We need to open the jail downtown and make it a misdemeanor jail. You've got 150 beds there that are sitting vacant and nobody's going into them. And after 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you cannot verify a warrant because we have nobody working. Well, you can get the money by opening that misdemeanor jail. You can raise the revenue to pay for the cost of that. Now that's how you do things without taxing the people extra.
Well, and I got to tell you, I had an experience in a McDonald's a month or so ago where a young fella had absolutely no respect for anyone. And if we're not going ahead and indicating to these folks that there are consequences to bad behavior, that is enforcing warrants, etc., there's really no reason for them to change or want to change.
Exactly.
It's a big problem.
It's a mental thing with them. They know that nobody's going to bother them. They're not going to get it picked up. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Let's shift gears and talk about the infrastructure problems. We've got traffic problems, road problems, although there's been tremendous improvements in various districts, and yours is like a gold star district. It's amazing.
We finished the bridge at Flannery Road. We just, everything in the world is going on. I've kind of got a saying that those orange barrels provide short-term pain for long-term gain.
But it's pretty painful.
But yeah, it's painful. But I warned everybody a couple of years ago that that's what we were going for, that we were going to build brand new streets and roads. And I do not, when my children grow up, and my grandchildren grow up to be adults, I want to be able to say yes to them and let them know that I did everything I could possibly do during my tenure of office to provide them with a better place to live.
And I've noticed that they're synchronizing the lights more, and then we
Yes.
got this fantastic intersection at Airline and Sieg.
Continuous flow intersection,
Unbelievable.
absolutely one of the best in the country. They've used it for a model ever since at Sherwood Forest, Sieg Lane, and Airline Highway. A great intersection.
But still we got struggles.
Well, still we do, and that's one of the things we have to do also to continue to have the trust of the public. We've got to finish what we've started. We've got to finish the Green Light program. We have to finish the $1 billion sewer program that we're working on
Well,
now.
and if we don't, federal government's
Federal
breathing down our
government's
neck and take the money anyway.
2014, December 31st, 2014, we have to have a certain amount done, or I don't even want to think about what the penalties will be.
Millions and millions
Right.
and millions.
So we've got a lot to finish that we have going on right now, and we're going to get a new library in District 8 also at Fairwood Country Club site.
And I had Jay Darden on, the lieutenant governor, and he was talking about how we don't understand that 50% of our population in Louisiana does not even have internet, and the public library is a way for them to access that.
Absolutely. Ours is going to be up to date with all the modern technology for children, for adults, things of this nature, and that's the way you build them nowadays. And it'll be built for $6 million or less.
You've talked about other projects that you see being a goal that we should reach for in the next few years, particularly interstates that help the 18-wheelers in traffic. Explain to the folks what you
Well,
envision.
I know for a fact right now that a lot of truckers are finding routes to go from Interstate 59 over to the new Audubon Bridge and then back down to 415.
Which is a beautiful bridge.
Beautiful
Good
bridge.
gosh,
So
looks like a
we really, if we want to think
statue.
ahead and have some vision and look down the road for the future, we really ought to think about doing a major, either a toll road or a loop project going from I-59 to the Audubon Bridge back down to 415. Now that will alleviate a lot of trucking traffic in East Baton Rouge Parish. Could be done realistically for a lot less money than what we're talking about doing some other things.
And so in essence, what you're saying is we can divert that traffic from running through the middle of
Absolutely.
Baton Rouge and clogging up what limited thoroughfares we have. We just divert them around it.
Exactly. It's like building a sidewalk on a college campus. You don't build a sidewalk on a college campus until you see where the students are going to walk. And then where they're walking is where you put the sidewalk. Well, you put the northern loop around East Baton Rouge Parish where the truckers are driving. They're driving from I-55 over to the Audubon Bridge down to 415 to get around Baton Rouge now on two-lane highway.
And I guess we could put traffic counters to kind of get
Absolutely.
that data, right?
Absolutely. And it can be shown to be a much better plan, a much better route.
Well, let's talk
so
about-
I would like to see that done in the next 10 years.
Let's talk about economic development. Downtown's amazing. I'm just baffled. When we were kids in college, it was a pretty scary place.
Yes.
But it's not now. Now, I know it's had some particular crime problems, but for the most part, it's booming.
Right.
So it's just another gold star for you guys. But what else can we do?
Well, people don't realize, Baton Rougeans don't realize what we have downtown. And I think
Amazing.
one of the things we need to do is educate Baton Rougeans on the new Baton Rouge.
I agree, Mike. I took my wife down there for that, February 14th
Yes.
special day, and we stayed at a hotel downtown. Had
Right.
a wonderful weekend touring, and I hadn't frankly been down there in probably 10 years, so I
Yes.
did not know.
Exactly. Baton Rougeans do not know what Baton Rouge has. And that's one of the first things I think we need to do is educate Baton Rougeans on Baton Rouge. And then, of course, obviously take that to other parts of the country. There are a lot of things we can do. One of the things I'd like to see us do is take our airport and make it just a much greater aviation center. Yes, we need some low-cost carriers in here, but we also need to do some more with the carriers that we have, Delta, United, Continental. And I'd like to see some international flights.
Well, I'm flying to
Yeah.
Scotland in 3 days,
Exactly.
and I
You're
wish
going
I didn't have to
Scotland.
truck off to New Orleans.
One of these days, quite frankly, we may be opening up trade again to Cuba, an international flight from Baton Rouge to Havana. I really would like to see Vision Airlines come back and do a small flight, short flight to Houston with all the petrochemical industry we have here and everybody going to the petrochemical center in Houston. We need a straight shot there. Also with jobs and economic development, let's start putting money into the economy that we have here now that exists. We're the breadbasket of this country, and let's take petrochemical and oil and gas industries and the refineries and all, and let's start putting a lot of money into that. Focus on that.
Well, let's talk about that on this
which
final
is the crust
segment.
of this breadbasket.
It is, in the bond issue. This is Locke Meredith with Legal Lines. Mike Walker, our Mayor Pro-Tem. We'll be right back. Hello, I'm Locke Meredith, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of myself, Sean Fagan, and Corey Ogeron, and our entire staff for letting us come into your homes for the last 10 years via Legal Lines. We hope that you've come to a greater understanding of how the law works and how the government works for you. So from all of us, thank you. Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith, and again, very pleased to have on the show today Mike Walker. He's our Mayor Pro-Tem for the Parish of East Baton Rouge, City of Baton Rouge. Mike, we were talking about the infrastructure needs, the economic needs, the safety needs of the parish. And the mayor, Kip Holden, and I had him on my last group of shows, has proposed a bond issue to try and deal with some of those issues. Have you had a chance to analyze that at all?
Not to analyze it. We've only just received it a couple of days ago, and then I got the newspaper here today to go through what was in the newspaper.
So am I understanding that the newspaper is really your only account of what's being proposed?
That and an email we got last week.
Okay. Well, what is your understanding of what the mayor is proposing? From my conversation with him, he's proposed these type of improvements, this bond issue concept 3 times. This is the 3rd time, I believe. He's excluding Alive and maybe including some bridges. Fill me in.
That's about as much as we know as a council. Alive is out. He has done one good thing, I think, that he has divided it up into 3 proposals.
That's
that
very,
way, if
very
it were
good
to go
news.
to the people could select 1, 2, or 3 options. I've always thought that's a much better deal, give them an a la carte.
And the options are what?
The options are public safety,
Okay.
Infrastructure, and then economic development.
Okay, the 3 things we just
The 3
talked
things
about.
we just talked about, yes.
Right.
And a total of about $750 million.
And I guess the price tag for each one of those, we have a general idea of what it's going to cost.
They have presented a general idea of what it would cost on each one of them.
And I'm
about
trying
a
to
quarter
recall.
and they've also proposed to do sales tax and property tax. A 1/4 cent sales tax, it appears on each one of those segments, and then a certain millage on each one. It seems like the public safety one has got 2.15 mils as compared to about 0.25 on the other 2.
So,
I'm not sure why there's such a much larger millage on the public safety when it's not that much larger or not as large as some of the other. I'm not sure about that.
So y'all really haven't had a chance to sit down with the mayor and his folks and kind of, I guess, round table in a way about this?
No, we have not. The council was not included on any of this. Working with the mayor president on this. This is his plan. And,
well, let me ask you this question.
Suppose that's the way he wants it.
The council contemplated this, 2 previous times?
Yes.
And submitted it to the voters?
Yes.
Were there reservations then, or it was just,
Yes,
guess, let
there
the
were-
voters decide?
There were reservations back then. The last time we presented to the voters, we had 2 reservations in particular. One was whether to include Alive or not, and 2, whether to present it in all or one package or divide it up back then.
So those 2 reservations.
So quite frankly, we made a mistake, and we have to be, I hope we have enough memory to realize we made a mistake back then by putting it the way we did, and by handling it the way we handled it, and we would propose to do it differently.
And so you've indicated that this is at least chopped up into the 3 different categories. And
I've said all along that's the way it should be, and so that part I agree with.
So kind of explain the process. So the mayor comes to you guys and says, hey, here's what I'm proposing, and then the council folks have to analyze that proposal, I guess.
Yes, the mayor has come to us with this proposal, and it is going to be presented to the full council on August the 3rd at our Finance and Executive Committee meeting, which
Okay.
actually won't be the full council, it'll only be 6 members of a committee.
Okay.
Then it will be presented to the full council on August the 10th, which is the final day that we can vote to put this item on the ballot for the November election
Now,
of
does that
this year. So if we vote 7 out of 12 votes to put it on the ballot, it will be on the November ballot. If we do not get 7 votes, then it won't be on the November ballot. And it's through until somebody wishes to come with another one at another time during the future.
What does this time period, which is about 30 days, does that
That's
give
it.
y'all enough time to analyze this?
Not in my opinion, it does. Some council members think that that's fine and that's okay, but in my opinion, it does not. I think there are a lot of questions in what I've read about in the newspaper and what little bit I've seen that I have. I know other councilmen are asking questions through emails at this time. We only have 30 days to take it to our people. I, for one, always take this to my civic associations, take it back to the people, present it to them, see what they have to say. And my question is, what's the rush? Why is the mayor's panic our emergency? I don't understand that. And
Have you?
so for me, this is not the right way to do it, and not a timely way to do it. You're trying to back me in a corner, and that is not a good thing to do to any council member that you wish to get their vote on.
Mike, are y'all going to try and meet with the mayor to maybe try and resolve issues? Do y'all have an opportunity to amend it if y'all want to? I mean, is it this time frame just impossible to deal with?
This time frame gives us one full council meeting to do whatever we think we want to do. That's it. We get one time, one meeting, one chance.
Well, we were talking about wants versus needs.
Yes.
And I guess a question that's just pounding in my head is this proposal providing for absolute needs that the parish has, or is it wants that the parish has, or